We are live with this, the greatest episode of Reels in the Round with Rownan and Kirk. We watched a great American classic today. I mean, truly a pinnacle of film expression.
Special occasion.
CONAIR. Yep. We've watched some cinema classics on this show. Steve McQueen and Bullet and, Hidden Figures. We've watched Academy Award winners. We've watched some great films, but none hold a candle to the cinematic masterpiece of CONAIR. But you had never seen it before?
Nope. Let's
kick this off strong and just hit it hard.
Okay.
What did you think?
I thought it was good. I thought there was some I don't really know the term you would call it, but some things that you would just be like, that's probably just Hollywood magic.
I'm sorry, there were only some things. A plane landed on the Hollywood, the Los Angeles Strip, Rownan. What parts do you think were just Hollywood magic?
Okay, maybe the whole movie.
The whole movie. Yeah. From beginning to end, not one believable line was said. Not one thing happened that was even somewhat plausible, but yet it drips with perfection.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where you're like, that would be such a magnificent plan of escape, except for how they found out about the whole plan in the beginning when they went into Virus's cell.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I will tell you, I have seen this movie 13,000 times.
And counting.
It is one of my father and my favorites. It came out when I was 13 or 14. Okay. And we saw it on TV one day, and it just became a thing that we would watch it a couple times a year. Yeah. And I'm pushing 40 now. I mean, so for 25 years of my life, I've watched this film. Yeah, just at least annually, if not several times a year. And I will tell you that I find new problems with it every single time. Every time I watch it, I was like, wait a minute, that makes no sense. How did I never notice that glaring plot hole before?
Yeah.
But still, I enjoy every minute of it.
And I'm sure we'll talk about several of those today.
We absolutely will.
But before we do that,
sure.
Director, writer, Simon West.
Yes, Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Now that, just we're clear, is the Angelina Jolie, right? Not the Alicia Vangarder.
Yep.
The Mechanic, which is such a good Jason Statham movie. I will say I recently saw the sequel, The Mechanic Resurrection, and it is horseshit. It's awful.
I see.
I was so sad because The Mechanic is one of my favorite bad Jason Statham movies, and it goes from the best bad Jason Statham movie to just a truly bad movie.
Well, since you mentioned that, that's a movie I haven't seen.
The Mechanic?
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
It's on my list.
Oh no, and I say in a similar way to CONAIR, I actively like The Mechanic. It's a really fun Hitman movie.
Yeah.
Because all Hitman movie follow that kind of same. The Mechanic is one of my favorite Hitman movies. It's really good.
I see.
And then The General's Daughter. Writer Scott Rosenberg, Gone in 60 Seconds, also starring our friend Nicolas Cage.
Yep.
Beautiful Girls, and Jumanji, The Next Level. So this most recent one.
Yes.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. And it is, of course, a Jerry Bruckheimer film, which was a whole brand in the 90s. Jerry Bruckheimer and Michael Bay were they were a whole brand.
I see.
From, like I was telling you before, from about 94 to 2002. I mean, they were doing things before that and after that, but that was the pinnacle of those.
The climax.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Now, hopefully, are those the correct four? Do they have your stamp of approval?
Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, John Malkovich, and Cole Meany. There is one alternate that I would have allowed. But this is the first time that the people you brought up, I'm like, those are the ones you like. The only alternate that I would have been allowed for is, had you changed Cole Meany to Ving Rhames, I put those as, I don't think that Cole Meany is wrong. I'm just saying that Ving Rhames or Cole Meany, Steve Buscemi was in this, great, but he's a tertiary character. Danny Trejo was in this, great tertiary character.
Yeah.
There were a lot of awesome talent, but Cole Meany and Ving Rhames I'd have put, neck and neck.
I see.
But Cole Meany is a good choice.
Nice.
From the top, Nicolas Cage,
Yep.
Cameron Poe, with the greatest wig in Hollywood history, and by far the most authentic Southern accent that has ever been rendered on film. There are Southerners that don't know how he emulated it so perfectly.
Really?
No, Rownan, it's terrible.
I know.
The Rock, which I actually want to recommend we add to our list.
Haven't known. So.
Oh, so good. National Treasure, which I actually non-ironically like National Treasure as far as, again, like heist and treasure hunt movies. Because like movies like Goonies, don't get me wrong, Goonies is a classic.
Yeah.
Treasure hunt movies sometimes get a little too hokey for me. Like and National Treasure, I'm not saying it's not hokey. National Treasure actually does, in my opinion, manage to keep it pretty even keel. Like it's a fun action adventure movie. I really enjoyed it.
I like that one too.
And then Gone in 60 Seconds, which just a cinema masterpiece.
Yeah.
Love it. Which we should also add to our list.
Correct.
John Cusack, Agent Vince Larkin. He was in Being John Malkovich, which again, so he's obviously worked with John Malkovich a fair amount, because Grosse Point Blank, in which he plays a hitman. It's another great hitman movie. And High Fidelity, which we watched last week.
Yeah, correct.
And then John Malkovich. I love John Malkovich. And one of the things I love about him the most is that from every account of everyone I know that has worked with him or been near him or in any way, he is apparently just the nicest guy. Much like Alan Rickman, Servius Snape and such. Both of these men, John Malkovich and Alan Rickman, had a whole career of playing villains just because of their face and their mannerisms and the air they gave off. But apparently that was so counter to who they were as actual people. Like John Malkovich is apparently just the nicest guy, but his entire career has been playing just truly horrific individuals because of just the way he looks. Being John Malkovich, Red. Oh my gosh. Have you seen Red?
No, I don't think so.
Retired, Extremely Dangerous. It's about retired CIA and special operations things. It's a great movie.
Okay.
And Space Force. Okay.
For a current one.
Yeah. No. Got it. And then of course Cole Meany from. Most people know him as O'Brien from either Deep Space Nine or The Next Generation, and then Layer Cake and Under Siege. But no, this is such a great. I mean, and so I want to contextualize and conceptualize. When I say it was a great movie.
There's different tiers.
I'm not kidding. I do love this film, non-ironically, but it's not good. It's awful. But it is such a perfect textbook example of 90s action films. Just like The Terminator would be a perfect example of like an 80s action film. Yeah. You know, The Terminator or Rocky would be a perfect example of like the 80s sports films or Karate Kid. This movie is a perfect cross-section sample of the 90s action flick. It's low and slow. I mean, the only thing it was missing was like doves because it wasn't a John Cho film. Like, not John Cho. I have that name wrong. I'm gonna have to look that up in a second. Like the flow, there was no slow motion doves flying in the background, but other than that, we had explosions with people walking away in slow motion. We had low and slow angles. We had one-liner after one-liner after one-liner. Some of them making absolutely no sense in the scene, but the moment itself is just perfect. Like it's such a perfectly curated moment. Such a perfectly curated moment that makes no sense in the context of the scene, but who cares? The moment was perfect. This movie's just fun and it gets me just excited every time I watch it. A lot of it might be a nostalgia. I've been watching this movie since I was 14, but I really do enjoy it. I'm going to stop talking and let you say things now.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think I basically said it. I was like, it's a good movie. There's just a ton of like, you said like the whole movie just doesn't make sense. Yeah. Which totally does. Like, and the first thing that like really came to my mind and like the first like that doesn't make sense type of thing is at the beginning when like doing the trial and everything. Yeah. Sir just pled
not guilty.
No. Self-defense.
No, and that was the whole conversation is if you plead not guilty self-defense, if you plead not guilty for self-defense, they can throw you away. If you plead guilty, they'll be nice to you. And then he got screwed by his lawyer / judge. And that was kind of the point. And they were trying to play this kind of, this action movie trope of as a soldier, as an army ranger, your body is a dangerous weapon. You should know better. Like they were trying to play up that he in himself was a weapon. So whereas for other people it would have been self-defense, but for him, he is a dangerous, well-oiled machine. So it was yes, it was a little bit of an overshoot of reality, but I think it served kind of a expository point of this man is danger.
I see.
But yes, it kicks off strong.
Yeah,
kicks off strong.
But then, the only other show or movie that has like a good plan of escape, of escaping jail and things like that. Which, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably Money Heist.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Right.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, it's not English language. Like you can watch it. Yeah. So recently I've been doing a lot of different stuff, and I typically don't mind subtitles, but a lot of the films that I'm getting recommended recently are subtitled and or dubbed, and I hate dubbed. It doesn't sound right to me and it wigs me out.
Yeah.
And I've been busy enough that I always have to be doing 2 or 3 things at a time. So being able to watch and read a film is so Money Heist. I've heard nothing but good things. It gets recommended to me all the time. I've turned it on 2 or 3 times, but then very instantly I'm like, shoot, I don't know what's going on because yeah. So I'm aware of it. I have not seen it.
But yeah, I think that show and this film are one of the best plans of escape from jail. But there are some like how you mentioned about the grenade launchers on board of the plane.
Why on earth? I mean, first, why was there an arsenal in the belly of the plane?
Yeah.
Anyway, you can't get to the belly of the plane during the flight, so there's no purpose in having an arsenal down there anyway. But if we get past that, there was 10 shotguns and 10 M16s on a plane that only had 4 guards.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then they also had several grenade launchers. It's a plane.
Yes.
What on earth?
Why would you need a grenade launcher?
Why would you? Yeah, no. No. Not a fan.
That's something they planned for another scene and then thought of it.
Again, this fits so firmly into the trope of 90s action films. We're don't ask questions. Don't do it.
And then another thing I'll bring up is the Las Vegas Strip and the next turn.
Oh, they're crashing down. They're crashing down the strip, and then they turn and they're on Fremont Street. If you are familiar with Vegas, those are not adjacent to each other. They are several miles apart, and so they're running down the strip and turn and are on Fremont Street. I'm like, whoa, no, that's not how that works. So let's talk dialogue for a moment. Let's take away the action and the unbelievability. Let's say, no, this absolutely happened. This is a documentary. This is based on actual events.
Could be a documentary.
Let's just talk about the dialogue of this film. Share with me your thoughts.
Like you said, it was just a whole bunch of one-liners and then just trying to transition from one to the next.
Did you have a favorite?
Did I have a favorite one-liner?
Define irony. A bunch of idiots singing and dancing on an airplane to a song made famous by the band dying in a plane crash. I love that one. What's wrong with him, man? My first thought would be a lot.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so good. So many good lines. But what were your standouts?
I mean, I feel like that one, the what's wrong with you a lot, because I mean that comes in my life a lot with my dad.
What is wrong with you? A lot. A lot.
Yeah.
No, this movie, it's just so funny to me. The scenes where if you were to take that as a clip, the clip is perfect. But when you take that clip and you put it in the scene, you're like, that clip made no sense in the context of the scene. But I'll allow it. It's this movie was never intended to win any awards. It was
Mhm.
just popcorn fun. And I
Yeah.
maintain that in the goal of popcorn fun, crushed it.
Yeah.
Crushed popcorn fun.
I'd say that.
Because it's just like, I've seen this movie 1,000 times, and I found myself sitting over there with you, and like I'm smiling and giddy, and I'm laughing. I'm like, man, this movie never gets old. It just doesn't.
It's just like one of the other questions I have.
What's that?
Is that why do like the two like main prisoners keep going through Cameron's stuff?
Yeah,
like,
so,
unless they have like that's like sudden like hunch or so,
right?
But
it's very interesting that like they don't they go through a few people's things, but like it's interesting that Cameron's box seems to be the one that everyone keeps going to, and you're like
the staple.
Like they found his parole letter. They found his daughter's letter. They find the bunny. They're like, what, dude, leave his stuff alone. Why aren't you going through other people's stuff?
Right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like there's sometimes where like the main virus.
Yeah.
He just like absolutely loves Cameron. And then sometimes he just absolutely despises him. Like,
well, I mean, he is insane. So
yeah,
you got to give him that one.
He doesn't know what's happening in like the next 5 minutes.
No, there were so many things that I caught this time that had never, the sheer physics of it make no sense. Like they're leaving from somewhere in California. It doesn't say exactly, Southern California.
Yeah.
They're leaving, and they're flying, and they fly to Carson City, Nevada. So, and they fly, an hour or two. It doesn't say exactly how, but they fly to Carson City, Nevada. Okay. And then they land. And then they are flying past that.
Going towards Arizona.
Well, no, that wasn't real.
Well,
that was the other, other plane. But still, John Cusack was able to, in a car, get there in 50 minutes.
Yeah.
But in the plane, they said, hey, we're not going fast enough. We're not going to be able to make it because we're going too slow. The physics of that does not work. John Cusack, who stayed still the whole movie, was able to make it to Lerner Airfield, which is in fact only about 90 minutes. But like the geography of it didn't make much sense. Again, I don't care that much, but like that didn't occur to me till this one. I was like, wait a minute. How is the plane moving too slow to make their hit time, but John Cusack can make it there in a car? I mean, sure, it's a Corvette, but like, no. Good times.
I mean, I didn't really know that much of the geography. So
well, think about it. He drove to the Lerner Airfield.
Yeah.
They'd been in a plane for several hours. He'd been on the ground for several hours, and he rendezvoused with them in a car.
That is true. Because airplanes would go much faster.
Yeah, that's how that works. Yeah,
because they're saying they're going like 205 or so,
right? And they were complaining that they had to get the landing gear fixed because they weren't going fast enough to meet their rendezvous.
Yeah.
But John Cusack made it in a car.
Plus, didn't they fix the landing gear too?
They did.
Yeah.
So there's so many things wrong.
Yeah.
Let's hit with the next slide.
Okay.
The budget was $75 million and worth every penny. A bargain at twice the price.
Yeah.
And it generated $224 million, of which I'm only responsible for like half of that. So
just half.
Just half. Awards won from the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards. May they rest in peace. Favorite supporting actor John Cusack, and the BMI Film Music Awards. For which song?
Not sure, but one of the other awards that they did get, kind of that I did not put on this list, was for the last song in the movie.
Trisha Yearwood won an Oscar. Not an Oscar, won a Grammy.
No, it was for this movie getting an award, but it was like the most live performance song or so.
That I have absolutely no doubt that's true. Yeah.
And I was like, I probably should have put that in there.
That both Trisha Yearwood and Leanne Rimes. Now, just so you're aware, one of those women was in her mid to late 30s at the time, and one of those women was in her young 20s.
Okay.
And both of them released the same song the same year because neither of them wrote it. And they both released it the same year, and they were both nominated for a Grammy for it. So, but they're very different songs. You have this very young, clear, like Britney Spears-esque, like young 20s voice.
Yeah.
And then you have Trisha Yearwood, which is the one you heard in this kind of older, more mature, soulful voice. And it was that year this song got played a ton because both songs were number one singles. Both songs were nominated for Grammy. So like anytime you turned on, if you listen to any country radio of any kind, this year when you turned on the radio, you heard this song either by Leanne Rimes or Trisha Yearwood, just
I see,
without fail.
Ratings.
Okay, ratings. This film is rated a 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb, 56 on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 52 on Metacritic. And I agree with that 100%. Because, again, a 52 on Metacritic is not low.
Yeah.
A 52 on Metacritic is actually fairly reasonable. A 56 on Rotten Tomatoes is low, but it's critics. It's film critics.
Yeah.
So, of course, film critics are going to hate this.
Yeah.
And the audience giving this a 70, a 69? Yeah. Oh, this is a C movie, but it's so much fun. I'm not saying this like was robbed at the Oscars. It was robbed. Yeah. I'm saying this movie is fun, and it is. And so I agree with those ratings entirely.
Yeah, because, well, like you said, it wasn't meant to win anything. It did good with the with the sales.
And like all of those moments, all of those, like, you know, TikTok right now is really huge because it takes a song that's 3 minutes long and it gives you 15 seconds. The part that gets stuck in your head.
Yep.
This movie is the cinematic equivalent of that. It is nothing but 15-second TikToks. It's just these little moments that have a very loose and tangential connection to each other. But that's it. Like they're just like, you move from one little 15-second vignette to the next. And the scene in and of itself is just fun. Then you move on to the next, like, but that has nothing to do with the last one. Don't just
roll with it. Yeah. So this is just the TikTok of movies.
This is the TikTok of movies in 1996, I think. Did we have the year?
I don't remember exactly, but 96 does sound.
We usually have the year up. So no, again, this movie is not good. I'm not pretending like it's great, but like I love watching it. It's so much fun. Much like I will sit and watch TikToks for hours, even though I hate most of the TikToks.
Yeah,
the experience is enjoyable because of those moments. The moments in this movie are just so good.
Well, it's kind of like Vine, since that's an older version too.
Vine.
What?
I hate
basically the same as TikTok.
There were several very important differences, and it's why Vine actually failed. MySpace still exists. Vine actually failed. Like every other social media, it just like goes to obscurity. Tumblr still around. Less people use it. Still there. MySpace still around. No one uses it. Still there. Vine's actually gone, and that says a lot.
Yeah.
And this is our last slide, right?
Correct. So.
Okay.
What should we watch next week? We have a ton of options.
We have a ton of options. Now I'll say that there's a 50-50 chance I'll be here next week. I have a few things. So you might be running it alone. Okay. So as you might be doing it alone next week, let me just say your call. What stick with our theme of it has to link to this movie in some way.
Yep.
But that gives you John Cusack, that gives you Steve Buscemi, that gives you Nicolas Cage. It gives you 90s action films. I mean, I could think of 25 movies that we could legitimately watch as a next step off this one. You choose.
Well, I think you already know what I'm going to go with.
No.
Okay. I was going to ask if you wanted to take a guess, but
I mean, no. I mean, there's too many that are good choices. There's just too many.
Well, my choice.
Okay.
The Mechanic.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Or what do you think?
No, The Mechanic is good.
Okay.
The Mechanic is good. It's not as directly linked as I'd like, but I'll allow it.
Okay.
I'll allow it. Yeah. I would have either gone with Gone in 60 Seconds or The Rock, because both Nicolas Cage 90s action fun. But
that is true. I mean,
The Mechanic is
should
good.
We change it or?
Your call. Like I said, in that I won't be there. $20. Leslie Weplow just commented in the sections, $20. Is that a movie? Like, I'm missing the context of the comment, but
no clue.
Anyway,
I mean, I'm fine with either The Mechanic or Gone in 60 Seconds. Actually, let's.
So Gone in 60 Seconds would have Chris Eccleston, Giovanni Ribisi, Angelina Jolie, Will Patton. Obviously, Nicolas Cage, also the same era. And it ties in more of Nicolas Cage's personal personality, which is to say he's a car fanatic, and that's one of the reasons. So you know what? Let's go for next week. Let's go with Gone in 60 Seconds, just because it'll be fun.
Fine with that.
But I'm going to issue you a special challenge.
Okay.
To see if you can also find the original, because Gone in 60 Seconds is a remake.
Is it really?
Gone in 60 Seconds was originally a movie in the 1960s. I want to say it was Michael Caine, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I have found it online once or twice. It's hard to find. It'd be cool if we watched both of them. But again, we're only going to talk about the Nicolas Cage one. Yeah. But I still think it would be interesting, much like The Italian Job, which was a remake.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies that were remakes that. Or The Mechanic. The Mechanic's a remake. I've seen the original as well. Again, 1960s film. There's a lot of movies that were remakes, but they weren't remakes of these huge films like A Star Is Born, where everyone knew it was a remake.
Yeah.
It was a remake of a film that was fine,
obscure,
but they just wanted to redo it. Gone in 60 Seconds is one of those. So it'd be interesting if you at least made yourself aware of, if not watched, the original as well.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Awesome. So you want to kick us off? So we're watching Gone in 60 Seconds next week. Classic
Mustang movie.
So good. The Shelby GT5. And again, that we can even tie it all the way back to the fact that we watched Bullet and Ford versus Ferrari, which was about that car.
Yeah, and I'll bring my Ford cap again.
You left it here, I think. It was here for weeks.
Yeah, now it's at my house.
Is it? Okay.
I wore it yesterday.
Okay. Well, awesome. As always, thank you for watching Reels in the Round with Rownan and Kirk. I've been Kirk.
And I've been Rownan.
And we will see you next week.
Bye.